But colonial economies couldn't just stop, they needed a new labor source, which brings us to the next phase. With slavery outlawed, colonial powers turned to indentured migration, a middle phase, spanning the 1830s to early 1900s, a system that bridged the brutality of slavery with the complexities of modern migration. This phase saw another 12 to 15 million people, primarily from India and China, move to colonial territories to keep plantations, mines, and infrastructure projects running. Workers signed contracts, typically for 5 to 10 years, promising labor in exchange for passage or minimal wages. Sounds like a fair deal, right? Not so fast. Many were driven by desperation, poverty, famines, or colonial exploitation, while others were tricked or coerced into signing by recruiters promising better lives. These contracts were binding, restricting mobility and rights. Workers couldn't leave until their term was up, and conditions were often brutal, with overcrowded ships, meager food, and grueling work. The coolie trade, a key part of this, saw Chinese workers build railroads in the US or mine guano in Peru, while Indians replaced enslaved laborers on sugar plantations in places like Trinidad, Guyana, or Mauritius. Some voyages had mortality rates as high as 30%, and workers faced rampant discrimination, often called coolies, as a racial slur. This wasn't slavery, workers had nominal legal protections, but it was far from freedom, with employers holding nearly all the power. Indentured migration sustained colonial economies, producing sugar, rubber, and railways, while creating lasting diasporas, like Indian communities in Fiji or Chinese in Malaysia. By the early 20th century, growing resistance, think India's nationalist movements, and labor reforms began to dismantle these systems, as global economies shifted and new forms of migration emerged. This sets the stage for our final phase.